Alright. And we are live. Okay. Hello everybody. Welcome back. This is going to be another art stream. We are on day 21 of the Arttober challenge. So as you can see on the screen, day 21 is going to be Malenia, I believe her name is. She's a Elden Ring character. I haven't played the game, but I do remember seeing her floating around online. So, but yeah, real cool looking character. Reminds me of like she's got like this Athena aesthetic. But yeah, let's go ahead and grab my pen, my glove, and we're going to draw her today. And I'm a little late. Honestly, I had time earlier today, but what happened was that I was studying and I just fell asleep in the middle of it. So I accidentally took a nap today. But you know, it's 8 o'clock. I got 4 hours. I think I can do this. Let's go ahead. I already got my canvas ready. Let's select my pencil and let's get straight into it. I am a author and illustrator of a webcomic called Daughter. Come check that out if you like romance stories. You can read it for free on Webtoon Canvas. And you know, as always, if you do watch the whole video or stream and you felt like you got some value out of it, make sure you leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. And of course, if you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button. I don't really make videos. I just kind of come on. I just stream live artwork, and I kind of do that pretty randomly. So it's best to subscribe, so you know when I come on. Which will, you know, it sucks because you know if I ever come on at a time that you're not available, then. But typically, that's going to be the nature of this channel. By a strong face, I mean that you know, if it's a weak face, right, then this will be very rounded. All the facial features will be rounded, but when the facial features are very, you know, cut and curve and all that stuff, right, then they're seen as strong features. So she's got some pretty strong features. Yeah, overall, we're here for a chill vibe, so just feel free to chill and, you know, watch. Oh, hey, Neo Libra. It's been a while. Good to see you. Welcome back to another art stream. It's been quite a while. I'm taking a second look at the reference, and she's wearing she's wearing a thing. I don't need to go into detail over here, so I'm not gonna stress too much here. Yeah, I've been great. I've been, just studying, working hard. I mean, it's hard to... Well, I guess for most people it's not that great, but to me it's great. To me it feels nice to be able to work on things that I like and, stay engaged and, study and all that stuff. I'll make this head bigger. Let me just compare it to the replication. Let me just make it a bit bigger. But yeah, it's been great. I've been doing Arttober for this month, so I've got an excuse to just draw 31 illustrations and kind of apply, what I've been studying. But yeah. Okay. She's got like a whole helmet here. Let's see. Right here, make a progress in yeah. That's just all I'm really just focused on. Yeah, how have you been? It's been a while since you got by on the channel. If you're willing to share. Now I have a chat on the screen, so. Oh, you know what? If I'm gonna put it this far back, I gotta make it more rounded up here. I see. Self-improvement and reflection. Very, very important things. Definitely to seek out. It's always good to take some time and, just think about what's happened, how things are going, and how you should move through it, right? And as always, we should always be moving towards a better version of ourselves, right? Because to stay stagnant, otherwise, it's practically not being, you're just not living at that point, right? It's a fate worse than death. I'll stop. I may be being a little more dramatic, but yeah. Okay, this helmet is crazy. Alright. So I'm gonna try to break down this helmet a bit. So I'm gonna cut this and make this cut here. I want to create this shape that's kind of following, the roundness of the helmet. But also at the same time, just things she's got going on here. Okay. Now here, I'll put a circle. And then we can add these wings on her helmets. Now, I do want to see more of this helmet, so I'm going to actually move her down a bit. Let's see. Couldn't agree more. Being more dramatic is a way of formally getting your point. I guess that's what I was doing, right? Sometimes I just say things and I'm not really thinking about it. But let's see. What's this design, by the way? It's This is what's her name? Malenia. Yeah, she's an Elder Ring boss, allegedly. But yeah, that's who I'm drawing for today. And she's got this cool helmet. She's like think Athena. It's a super strong female warrior. And she's made quite the impression on the art community. Well, not art, I'm sorry, but the internet is what I meant to say. She's made quite the impression on the internet. Being a very difficult boss to fight in that game. And as I always say when I'm drawing video game characters, they're typically the most challenging characters to draw because they have a lot of detail typically. That's just the nature. Design-wise, that's the nature. No, I don't like how this... Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna follow this line here. I'm gonna make an ellipse. Okay, that seems about right. So that means the circle will be here. Let's give it a bit more of a curve. Okay. Yeah, I've never played Elden Ring either, but yeah, I've heard it's a very tough game to play, but you know, I just never played it. Now, as far as unique designs, I didn't see too much of the game, but this is the only character that I'm familiar with. And since we have this kind of pose here, that means I have to, if I want to make this image interesting, we've got to play around with the hair a bit. So I'm gonna make her hair not here, but I also want to make it up here, this side here. This is for the, you know, it's this plate here, but it's on the other side. Okay, and I'll just like maybe create some few lines, but I'll come back to this. Oh, straight up helmet. Yeah, I dig the helmet a lot. The fact that, yeah, and you know, I've seen images of her without the helmet, but I think I like the whole helmet thing. So I'm gonna stick to drawing her with the helmet on. But I do agree, it does make her look more intimidating when she has the helmet on. But the helmet is a very difficult part because the design on this helmet is pretty crazy. Alright, I'm just gonna take my time and break it down here. Okay, so we have a circle at the end here. Let's see. Okay, it comes down. I'm gonna use this line here to know where it's following. So it comes down like this, and then it interweaves back in. And it turns into, okay, and it comes straight into the middle, and then it leads back out. But that's not where it ends. Here. Oh, I see. Okay. have to erase it just to make this look more clear. But yeah, it's just all of this. And now going back into this big circle, we're going to define a little more because it's controlled in. And right inside the circle, we've got another little band here. Okay. And I'm missing one more here. Okay, and this can be a little lower. No, this can't be a little lower. Okay, so I'm gonna have to morph it. So let's use the liquefy tool here. I'm just gonna drag all this up. Just correct the, outside of it. She looks like the type to, yeah, she does wield the giant sword. She's got, I didn't draw it in yet, but this will be a sword. This is gonna be more like and she's also has yeah, let me draw it now before I forget, but I wanted to add butterflies because in her artwork, she just has butterflies just floating around. So I wanted to include that in this illustration that I'm making. It seems to be another element of her character, which is pretty cool. This up here. And I'm going to start erasing and set in stone. Well, not super in stone, but just kind of set where these little, the little, I won't say little, but the design of her armor plate. But actually, before I do that, I want to push this more to the left, actually. Yep, okay. This is really tough. Okay, but I think I'm starting to get it. Alright. Okay. I've got something here. Alright. I'm just gonna keep erasing and adding. Okay, we got some darkness in here. There we go. And I'm going to erase to make this path clearer. Which is very short-lived because now I'm going to cross it again here. Okay. And now this goes up here. Coming up from under here, we have another. Something like that. Let me just kind of look at the front of her helmet real quick. Okay. Oh, you see what I mean about the complex? Yeah, it's pretty complex. But there you go. So I need to make this line in the middle because that's where this line has to follow, the front. It kind of smooths in. This part's like very important to get right. And then everything else will start to make sense. I said make sense. Everything else will start to look like that. I'm just going to that line here, so following it and understand where the surface is changing. space here. Thank goodness for the liquid tool on Clip Studio. Oh my gosh! Let me tell you, before we didn't have a liquid tube before. This is like recently. They just added it after like 2 years. But that was like a tool I used a lot in Photoshop, and that was one of my gripes with Clip Studio. I'm just like, man, I really wish they had like a liquify tool. And then they finally caught up and they gave us the liquify tool. So, happy. And I can fix and distort my portions. Here. Just gotta push this a bit. I think I just have it darker. Okay. I got the front. At least I feel like. Okay. Now let's work back over here to this part. This is where I left off. And let me create. Yeah, better late than never. But you know, Clip Studio is improving. But you know, now they locked their improvements behind a subscription. So if you buy the standalone version, where if you buy the standalone version, you just won't get any of the new updates. So whatever's wonky, it's gonna stay wonky unless you switch to a subscription. But I think they also let you like buy the update as well. Like you could purchase like whatever new features they have. But I'm gonna get no updates, so I'm stuck with whatever. And you know, some of the things that I don't like that Clip Studio has, that that I think is wonky. Like a lot of I tried doing the 3D model stuff, and it's very wonky. It doesn't work as intended, because I've seen like so many like videos talking about, oh yeah, 3D models are so cool, they're so useful, and I tried using it, and maybe it's because of my device, which I want to highly doubt, because the device I have is pretty powerful. But despite how powerful it is, it's still, handling the 3D model stuff is still pretty, like, slow. And, I'm sorry, my tablet. So I don't think, if you're like most artists and you're using, like, a tablet instead of, like, a PC with a tablet, yeah, 3D models are just not going to be something you're going to be using. If I had to take it from my experience. But if I downloaded Clip Studio onto my PC, I'm pretty sure I can run the 3D models no problem. But then I don't have a pen to draw with, so I guess I'll just draw with my mouse. I'm kidding, but that's kind of how I feel about it. All right, and yeah. That's the last part of the helmet. Okay, and then over here is just wings, which I will detail all that stuff in later. But this was the important part. Okay, so we got that in. Okay, it looks good. It looks like it fits. Let's see. I guess they have no intention of improving the free version. Well, it's not that. Well, yes, it is how they're gonna get you to pay your money, but you know they break it down so that you have a choice. So when I had the choice to buy, just spend I think like $100 or something, and I have it forever. Like I have it in on my tablet. I can use it. I can draw as much as I want. They're not gonna say, hey, you can't use Clip Studio anymore, right? Unlike other softwares, but I'm not gonna get locked out of using Clip Studio, which is cool. Which is why I chose to use Clip Studio. But the drawback to that is you don't get any updates. So you make the one-time purchase, whatever version, and that's the thing. When you do make your one-time purchase on Clip Studio, you get the latest version. So if we're at update 7, and this is your first time getting Clip Studio, you're gonna get Clip Studio with all the latest features. But let's say next year we're at Clip Studio 0.9, right? Update 9. And they added like a whole bunch of new stuff to the program. You're locked out of that unless you pay more money to get the new added features, which I think is off. I think that's fair because you're not like locked out. You can choose to get the forever version, and you can choose to pay money to get whatever new stuff comes out later. So that I like about it. Now for the subscription for Clip Studio, you get a few benefits. The main benefit that they try to sell to you is that you get the updates automatically. But the other benefit you get is that you can use the program on any device because you're using a subscription, which is really, really, really cool. And that's actually something I may look into towards the future, because when I first got my Clip Studio, I made a one-time purchase because it's what I could afford, and I only had one device to draw on, so it made sense to me. Like, the benefit of logging into multiple devices was not something that I was like, ooh, But then, I started working. I made some money. I got more equipment, more stuff for my art, a little art studio here. And now I have multiple devices that need Clip Studio, but I only paid it for that one time. So I would have to buy it again if I want to use it on my other devices, which, I'm not willing to do because I didn't get those devices specifically to draw with. But if I ever did get a subscription, that would be really cool because, like, for example, my PC is one of the new devices that I have. And it's the reason why I'm able to stream, because I tried streaming on my tablet, and the tablet is just not strong enough to do that. That was a very silly thing for me to do last year. But now I have my PC. My PC can handle it. It's streaming off my tablet. So my tablet is not, my tablet's not doing all the hard work of streaming the artwork to you guys. It's my PC that's doing it. But since my PC is so powerful, if I had Clip Studio on it, I can mess around with 3D modeling and the features that are in Clip Studio. I can learn how to, do 3D art, and that's an option that I now have access to because I have a device that's powerful enough for it. But I would have to get Clip Studio again, or I can just get the subscription. You'll be locked away from things like bug fixes and patches. I don't think so. But take that with a grain of salt. I'm not too sure. I would like to believe that if there are any bugs, I think, I would like to believe that I would be able to update it and get the bug fixed without having to pay for anything. But it's a lot of people complain about the new model that they had, but I'm just looking at it like, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's you get you get to choose. You could pay a subscription, which in the long run is a lot cheaper. I think it's like $40 for a subscription for the year, I think, or something like that. So, the subscription is actually a lot cheaper in the long run if you do plan on using the program. And you get all those neat benefits. Well, hi there, T, on YouTube. Let's see, how long have you been doing art? I'm a new digital artist, so I'm trying to figure out how long it will take. So for how long I've been doing art, that's a hard question to ask. So I'm just gonna put it this way: I've been doing art for as long as I remember, since I was very little. So we can say approximately 20 years I've been drawing. However, I only started taking it very seriously since 2017, which is when I decided to go to college for art. And before I went to college for art, I was, you're free to debate me on this if you want to, but how I like to put it is that I was relying purely on just talent. So every time I drew a picture, it was just based on how I felt, which was terrible. And that's why I went to school, because I wanted to be able to draw on command. Like if somebody said, hey, could you draw me this? I could confidently say, yes, I can draw that, right? I can draw you this or whatever you want me to draw. I can do it because I wanted to make a career out of drawing, right? But I can't make a career out of drawing if I can't draw what I want to draw all the time. So I went to go to school for that. So I didn't really learn how to draw until 2017. So, and it's 2024 right now, right? So let me see, so it's about 7 years that I've been learning how to do this properly, is what I would say. Because I've just been winging it and guessing for for the other 13 years, I guess, approximately, right? Because I said 20. And I will say that it's made a very, very big, it's given me a big boost. And there is something that one of my teachers have said, that I think is very legit. So I'll, you know, tell you what he told me, and because just to answer your question, because you're saying you're trying to figure out how long will it take to get good, right? And the way the teacher put it is that it depends on the tools, well, you know, what you have access to, because, you know, your ability. So let's say I never went to school and I just kept drawing randomly. It would take me longer to get to this point that I am right now, because I'm guessing a lot of stuff, right? It's like, oh, you know, how do I draw the forms? How do I color things? Blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, let me just try stuff, right? And if I have time to try stuff, sure. But, you know, I have nobody telling me this is right or this is wrong. So I have to guess everything on my own, right? Which is probably what you're doing right now. But if you have somebody behind you to tell you, hey, this is wrong, this is the way you do it, and then you kind of keep working on how you're going to do it, you're going to improve a lot faster because you have somebody telling you, you know, how to do something. So that depends if you have a teacher. If you have a teacher, you can get good in like a year. As long as that teacher is always, you know, is working with you like every day, every month, right? Then within a year, you can hit a professional level, right? But of course, you got to put in the practice. Of course, you can't just like. I know if you go on YouTube and you look up how to do things, a lot of these, you know, YouTube content creators, what they do, and let me tell you from like a, you know, from my point of view as somebody who has a trained eye, a lot of these YouTube people who give you art advice online, they do it in a very tricky way. And the reason why I say it's tricky is because the advice they give you is helpful. I cannot deny it is helpful, but the way, how do I explain it? It's like they're teaching you like valid tricks, but you know, but they're not kind of teaching you. Okay, I'll just put it like this. You're most of the time they're teaching you tricks, and it's a smart thing to do because you'll watch their YouTube video and you feel like you got a lot of value from it. But you know, that's the illusion that they're creating. It's like, oh, look, this is how you draw this, and now you know how to draw this, but you know how to do it because of the trick, but you don't really know the ins and out of how that trick came to be. So you're essentially taking a shortcut. But the problem with shortcuts is that you don't really understand what you're doing when you're taking a shortcut. So that's why self-teaching yourself on YouTube is pretty hard, because most of the content, at least from what I've seen when I've dived into the art space, most of the content is just just a couple of tricks, and just general fundamental stuff. Like the fundamental stuff is legit. You keep practicing your fundamentals. That stuff takes time. But a lot of the advanced stuff, they're mostly telling you these neat tricks that do work. But again, it's better to learn how the whole thing works rather than have like it's like you're doing like a one-trick pony thing, you know? Like if I was trying to tell you, if I made a video about how do you color something that's in the morning, right? In the morning daytime. Let's say like this character is set in the morning, right? And then I'm like, okay, you want to learn how to color? Then, we're gonna, let's give her skin color and blah, 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 right? And then, then it's like, okay, well, the sky is blue. So because the sky is blue, we're gonna put blue shade on the skin, and that's how we shade the skin, right? So what you're gonna get out of that video is like, okay, so when I paint somebody when the sky is blue, then I'm gonna do dark shades of blue on the skin color, and then you feel like you got value out of the video. But the truth is that, and I'm gonna tell you what it is. The reason why if we paint the sky, if the sky is blue, and you're gonna put a shadow, and you're putting a blue shadow, here's what you need to pay attention to. Why am I putting a blue shadow? because the sky is blue. That's what they're not telling you. They're not giving you that connection, which is something I struggled with when I was trying to learn how to color. I've seen people make videos like, oh yeah, you just do this, and then that's the video, right? But I'm like, all right, well, I don't know why I'm doing this. And the reason why is that it's all in, if you want to learn how to color, I'm not going to teach you how to color today, but I'm going to tell you how to learn. Light science. I don't know if I spelled science right. But light science. This is how you learn how to color. You got to understand how light works if you want to learn how to color. And part of light science helps you understand that the sky is blue, all that light is reflecting around the place, and because all this blue light is reflecting, all the colors on the character is gonna move towards blue. And that's why the shade is blue, because that's called that's the spatial color, which is color that is created from all the surrounding colors, right? And you know, yeah, you don't really have a teacher and you watch YouTube. Yeah, so it's just tricks. They don't really, and see, the thing is that, you know, as an artist, you need to make money. So I'm not gonna knock them for doing that, because a lot of YouTube artists are following the same marketing strategy where, you know, they make YouTube videos and they get your attention and they make you feel like it has value, but then you're gonna be at this point where you're like, wait, I still don't really know what I'm doing. I want more from this person. And then they offer you, oh, well, take my art course. Take my art course, and then, you know, bam, you'll definitely learn everything. And that's how, you know, that's how they make a living. Now, granted, if everybody on YouTube, you know, taught exactly, you know, if they did their class on YouTube for free, right, then that's gonna make you look like a bad guy against all the other artists that are trying to make a living on YouTube. Because once you make a free course and teach everything, you ruin the lives of all the other artists that's on YouTube trying to sell their art courses. So it's a pretty tricky place to be in. But I would say, you know, speaking, you know, of art classes, I would say, you know, if you don't have a teacher, if you want to learn fast, because your concern was so for T, your concern was like, how long is it going to take for you to get good? If you actually purchase somebody's online course, you're going to get there much, much, much faster. If you go to school, you're going to get there much, much, much faster than you would by yourself. So if you want to, you know, scrounge around YouTube and try to learn, you know, bits and pieces on your own and do it for free, sure, but it's going to take you more time to get to a higher level. But if you want to expedite the process, then, you know, pick an artist and buy their art course, and you're going to get to a higher level a lot faster. Because I'm not trying to say that the YouTube artists, I'm not trying to say that they're trying to scam you, because they are giving you value in their videos, and, you know, they're giving you the option, well, you know, this is what I gave you for free. If you want to, you know, get way, way better and you want like all the details and stuff, I worked really hard to make an art course, and, you know, that's a very fair thing to do. But my goal here is to help you understand how to get there faster, and, you know, what are the pros or cons on the path that you decide to take. So 2017, I went to school, and I have improved like a lot because I went to school. I can say that before school, I absolutely had no idea what I was doing. Right? The lighting was very helpful. Usually I'll just put whatever looks good, which bugs me because I do want the lighting right. So thanks for it. Yeah, I feel you on that. You know, before I went to school, I was really good at this. What you're looking at right here, like creating forms and making characters into a 2D space. And I always drew in black and white. So if I shaded this, you know, I was really good at shading it and creating values out of black and white art. But if there's one thing I just did not understand how to do, it was how to color. It wasn't until I went to school that I've learned that the reason why I don't know how to color is because I didn't know how light works. So I had to dive into light science, you know? And it's funny because when you learn how light works, you actually understand this color wheel here that I'm spinning, right? And, you know, it helps you understand how printers work because we got C, cyan, magenta, and yellow, right? And then the K would be black. C, M, Y, K. It's all here on the digital color wheel for a reason. All that is here. So that's part of your, like, that's part of learning light signs. Once you learn how light works, you understand how this whole color wheel works. And you understand how printing works. You understand how RGB works on the TV screen. You gotta understand all that stuff. Once you understand all that stuff, then you can start coloring like a professional, because you need that logic in order to understand how the colors work on a painting or on a piece, which is very different from real life traditional art, by the way. So T, you want to do digital art, you got to learn how light science work. So look up YouTube videos about light science. There are YouTube videos about there are people who make videos about how light works. So look that up, study it, take some notes down, because I promise you will forget, because I did. But yeah, take some notes on how, you know, light works. You know, study that up, and then go back into coloring when you do your artwork. So that's like, you know, so that would be like the line there. Now her arm, she has an arm plate here. Okay, hold on. So actually, I think I'm gonna create some fuzz here because she has some fur on her neck. Yeah, no problem, Neo Libra. Happy to share. You know, this is the fruits of my labor as well. Oh yeah, I feel that, T. Yeah, noted. Yeah, because yeah, traditional switching to digital. Yeah, I've had a couple of friends who have the same experience. They're normally traditional artists, but you know, they want to make the switch to digital. And it's a very confusing experience, and one of the biggest reasons why is because when you learn traditional art, your color wheel is red, yellow, and blue. And we work with that, right? We make green from here, we make purple here, and we make orange here. And that's our color wheel in IRL for traditional art. But when you do digital art, you gotta scrap this. And you got to learn this color wheel, where it's red, green, and blue. That's your new color. That's your new color wheel. So there's no more yellow. Yellow would belong in this other color wheel where we have the yellow, magenta, and cyan. Okay, so, and now I don't know if you noticed, but it's funny, but the digital wheel actually puts both those color wheels together in harmony, because this is reflecting on how light works. And when you're working digital, right? When you're working on digital, you're working on light. That's how your program is processing the colors, by imbuing the light out. When you're working in real life, then we're working on how the paper absorbs light and how paint absorbs light, which is why we use the red, yellow, blue color wheel. So there's a big difference when you're working on these mediums. So when you're working from traditional and you're going to digital, a lot of us make that mistake because we're so used to the traditional way of mixing colors, and we don't understand the digital way of mixing colors. So, you know, we end up feeling like, man, how does this digital thing work? It's so hard, I don't really get it. And then we're online watching videos and we see all these professionals just doing it like it's nothing, right? They take an airbrush and they're like, oh, bam, I got the perfect colors in just 2 strokes. And we're thinking like, yo, what, is it the brush? Like, what are we doing wrong? But in my experience, I figured out that it's because I didn't understand light science. So once I understood how light works and why the color wheel is the way it is, and you see these values here, H, S, V. Now that I understand how all that works, I understand how to color things digitally better now, versus how I learned how to do it traditionally, which is where a lot of us traditional artists end up tripping up. But that's why I made a whole. That's why I'm here on YouTube, to just kind of share my journey, my experience. If there's one thing I don't see on YouTube, well, maybe back then when I was like heavily on YouTube looking for stuff, one thing I didn't see was just anybody doing the boring stuff. And what do I mean by the boring stuff? Like, actually practicing the figures, practicing the line strokes, practicing color theory. All the stuff that you would do on your own, I don't see anybody doing that on YouTube. Anybody making any art on YouTube is already like a professional to some degree, right? So when I started last year, that was my intention. I just wanted to, be that guy on YouTube that's like, yeah, I'm not that great, but I'm doing what everybody's saying to do, and let's see if this will take me to where everyone promises it's gonna take me. So far so good. Yeah, no problem, team. You can return the favor by leaving a like on the video. So I appreciate that. But yeah, thanks for coming, and I'm glad you got some value out of hanging out with me today. And again, having a teacher, it may cost some money, but it's really helpful because, I'm a person who likes to ask questions. So, in that example I said earlier about how, how light would work, it's like, if my teacher said, yeah, if the sky's blue, you're going to color in your shadows blue, if the teacher's right in front of me, I'm going to say, well, why? Why do we have to color the shadow blue just because the sky is blue? I need to understand that. So that's why if I had a teacher, I would have gotten to that faster. However, because art school didn't really dive too much into coloring, or light science for that matter, I had to learn that on my own, which took me a while. But that's why, I say that if you want to learn how to get really good really fast, you need a teacher to guide you. Because if one of my professors back in college helped me understand that it was light science I needed to understand, then I would have gotten to that conclusion a lot faster. Okay, so she has a prosthetic arm, and this is what's really... This form is definitely not right here. Hang on, I'm just gonna take a second to look up some references. Oh yeah, I'm doing well. Um, to answer your question, T, it's a yes and no. So, do I do live streams a lot? Um, Not really. But why am I live streaming now? It's because it's October, and every October there's like this, a group of people on Twitter do an art challenge, right? And they draw every day for 31 days. They make 31 drawings, and they have a prompt. So, I'm doing Arttober, and my prompt today is to draw this character here, Malenia from Elden Ring, who is the character that I'm drawing right now. So I will be streaming every day until the 31st, because that's part of my challenge here. I wanted to draw every day, make a somewhat of an illustration every day. It doesn't have to look like the best illustration ever, but I wanted to be able to do it. And my proof of being able to draw 31 drawings is to be streaming it, right? So I'm streaming all 31 drawings that I'm gonna do for this challenge. Now, my plans afterwards, that's where my live stream is gonna be a little shaky, because I'm gonna spend most of my time studying and privately trying new things out. And then every once in a while, I will live stream an illustration. And if I do live stream an illustration, rather than promote these video game characters and anime characters that you see here on this list, I'm going to be promoting my own original characters, because I do have a webcomic. So that's what my streams are going to look like in the future. But we chilling and we vibing. Most importantly. So I think I see where I messed up here, and it's this thing here. I created this and I kind of warped my vision here. So let's delete this. So the reason why that messed me up here is because she doesn't really have much of a deltoid, and that's the that's that part of your arm that's on your shoulder, because this character has like a prosthetic arm, so this is not a real arm here. Let me go back to my shapes here and just understand the plane. This is a she, by the way, but I'm just being extra careful because I'm on YouTube. Yeah, feel free to, come along and, do work on some digital artwork together. Especially because of the Arttober stuff. I'm usually here for like 4 hours drawing something, so it's a nice chunk of the day to sit down and draw. And because I'm here and I'm available, if you are stuck somewhere and you're drawing, just feel free to ask me a question or two. Maybe I can help you get out of that part. But once again, I will always say I'm not exactly an expert, so I won't have an answer to everything. But part of my appreciation of you being here and spending time with me, I'll help you out if you got it. Well, I'll try to help you out if you got a question. And I do really like that you said that it's easier to do digital art when somebody else is doing it too, because I do want to create a space where artists are motivated to work on art, because I do understand sometimes it's daunting, or sometimes you get art block, and you struggle to just draw anything. So I have the clavicle here. This is like that bone on your neck, but at the bottom of your neck that attaches to your whatchamacallit. Wow, I used to say it all the time. Come on, it's the rib cage. There you go, the rib cage. That connects to your rib cage. It's visible here, which is where my intention was. So that means I only have like so much little tiny space for her neck here. But this, I think, yeah, the most important part here is to kind of create this plane here. Because this would be where the breast will start to come out. So that means everything on top of the breast is within this plane. And for this character, she has this thing, which gets raised because her shoulder is raised here. And the shoulder will be going inside of this mechanism. See, it's really weird because I have to create a whole like a whole mechanism thing, and I have to understand how this character's arm would go inside when she raises her arm, because I haven't played the game, so I don't really know how this looks like. Because this is deep in here, I'm going to create another ellipse here. Not our arm, this whole arm here is skeleton. This piece of Okay, I misunderstood this form. Alright, so this is gonna curve out here. Okay. And then there's some kind of darkness in here. I don't know what the heck is inside here, but it is. There is. Oh, there's actually a belt in here. Some sort, some kind of. Try this again. This time I want this to lay on. Put this first. Felt here. From the belt, or whatever this thing is, this thing actually curves into her back. But from here, I'm trying to figure out these landmarks to figure out where everything belongs. Okay, at the tip of this, I can create this shoulder plate thing. Which is probably gonna go over everything here. Because of this pose that I chose. Let's see. Neolibra says, funny enough, with 3D art, I've heard that the difference between a good render and a great one is the lighting. I guess it might be the same as 2D. Yeah, lighting is everything when it comes to coloring, at least, is what I will say. Lighting is the secret, is what I'm gonna say, because at least for me and other artists that I talk to, like that's one of the biggest problems when we're trying to make art. You know, we just can't get it to look good. How do we get it to look realistic, or how do we get that nice anime look, right? And you know, through my research, my discovery was that it's just all in the lighting. Your drawing won't make sense if the lighting doesn't make sense, right? But that's how colors work. How does colors work? How do they relate to each other? How do you know, when there's light on this specific object that it creates this color. You know, you need to understand how light works. And same thing goes for 3D modeling, because light tells us the shape and the value and the volume of things, right? Light tells us what the color is. Light tells us what the form looks like. Light also tells a story. We get a specific mood from light. So light is the heart of a piece of artwork. Every time. Every time. Because that's how you determine the forms, that's how you determine the values. So even in 3D modeling, light is going to be very important as well. Motivated, great. Let's go. Awesome. We've got some what's the saying? There's some power in your there's some wind in your sails. I think that's what it is. Yeah. The boat is moving now. You know the direction. I think I'm just gonna have to draw it. I can't really visualize it without drawing the breast, so I'm just gonna draw it. The arc point will be somewhere here, like this. Let me just make it into a triangle, so I don't get in trouble. Hopefully. Kind of like a video game, the polygons. Just because I'm struggling to see the form here. here. Okay, good. Alright, so I was kind of right here. Okay. Wait, that means I have to lower this a bit. Alright, which means that we have a lot more space for this, the furry stuff. Okay, I'm willing to put the fur over the chin here, but I don't want to lose this part of the chin because that information is important because it tells us the direction of the head. But there is also, she's got like this cape which wraps around the front here, so I'll have to include that as well. So I know I've got a lot of junk here, let me just erase it. I'm gonna put a break in that line to give the impression that this thing is round, and that there's some light here, right? And there's no darkness there, which is a nice little trick that we use in manga. But since this is gonna be colored, maybe it might not make the best impression. But anyways, that's just my whole manga habits just coming out during the drawing. Okay. So I'm gonna erase this once again, and I'm just gonna try to reshape this. This is just a very unnatural thing, and all of my training in drawing the arm is not helping because I'm dealing with something new. I want to say that this is flat here. And I'll just circle around here. And I'll just fold into her back. Like that. That's how I want to see this. And then she has like a little circle part where it's attached to the front. And the way I draw this circle is going to be very important because it's going to show us where it sits in the plane. Like that. Okay. Yep, I think that circle kind of. But again, I'll do this little thing to remind myself that this is a sphere. I'm just going to cover it in darkness because it's a prosthetic arm. I don't know what's in here. I don't think even the players know what's in there, so this is a detail that I don't think I'm going to get ridiculed for. I'm going to die over it. And then feel better about how it looks now. Let me actually solidify this shape here. Okay, that feels a lot better. This feels more like an arm, and it feels like it fits the position and the pose that she has. Because now I get to see, so she has a strap that goes from here, this point, around her breast. So I'm going to use that strap right here. I'm going to create this line to make that strap. And it kind of just curves over here. Okay. So I messed up with the first line, but that's okay. Okay. Now, if you noticed, I do a lot of, the way I do my pencil work is a lot of the chicken scratching. You want to know a neat thing about chicken scratch that I've learned from my professor? So some artists do that, right? And you'll see some people online say, yeah, you know, drawing like this is really bad. And I brought that up to my professor. I was very insecure about that. I thought I can never make good lines if I just keep practicing my pencil work like that. But he taught me that, you know, first of all, anyone can be an artist. So I don't know how you're gonna take that, but because that basically means that if you can draw art, you're not somebody's, you know, the only thing that makes you special is that you work hard for it. But you know, this is essentially a skill anybody can get. That was the first thing he taught me before we even got into that. But he also taught me that everyone's brain is wired differently, and you know, drawing is all cognitive, which is that part in your brain that you use when you play basketball, when you play sports, when you do anything with your hands, right? Hand-eye coordination, it's all cognitive. And everybody's brain does it, you know, differently, but there's like several groups, and apparently I think way too fast. So because I think fast, whenever I'm imagining anything on the screen, my brain is doing it little by little, but very quickly, little but really quickly, and that's why I'm doing these scratchy things, right? And funny enough, because I do that, and because that's how my brain processes things, where I'm trying to idealize something onto paper, my professor helped me understand that I'm actually way better at sculpting, like doing sculptures, because that's how, you know, when you're sculpting, you're chipping away at the volumes, and that's just kind of how your brain processes things. So he was telling me that's what I should be doing. I should be sculpting stuff instead of drawing, you know, 2D art. But I don't want to sculpt. But it was helpful to understand, and I thought it was interesting to understand why I do things. So while I'm blocking out and creating the character from, you know, 2D and trying to create like this 3D space for them, I do a lot of these scratching things. But that's my brain thinking this is like a sculpture that I'm trying to chip away at that, you know, and that's why I do a lot of, like, you know, I'll make the line and then I'll erase it, right, to make the form. It's part of how my brain processes things. So I thought that was like a very interesting thing, and you know, I just like sharing that, because yeah, ever since he told me that, I bring it up with a lot of other artists, and it's like nobody knows this. But yeah, your brain is tuned to do a specific thing better than anything else. So if I went into sculpting, I would excel in making sculptures. But because I understand this, I'm using it when I'm creating my 2D art. I'm understanding why that's there, and I know how to utilize it when I'm creating my artwork. So I think that's the important takeaway from there. But unfortunately, I'm not my professor, so I don't know every single thing about that. Like, I can only tell you how my brain works, but I don't know how other people, you know, how other habits you have would work for anything else. I just know that an example he gave me was that people who can draw straight lines and perfect circles, they have to, they're best suited for what do you call it when you're just drawing buildings? Architect. There you go. You're suited for architect. So if you're really good at straight lines and you struggle to draw people, that's because you should be drawing buildings. At least, that's what he says. That's also an interesting thing to know. You remember that I talked about it before? Alright, good. I'm glad that advice helped you a lot too. And T says, that's so interesting. I chicken scratch too. Oh, you too? And that made you feel better? Alright, good. I'm glad I made you feel better. Yeah, he's my favorite professor for sure throughout my whole experience because, he just had like a wealth of knowledge. He just knew like a whole bunch of just stuff about art. And I only learned this because, and I encourage you guys to do this if you ever decide to, go to college, and hopefully you haven't gone to college yet, but if you ever decide to give art college a try, please make friends with your professors. Talk to them after class. Don't just, because I do that, but my fellow students in my classroom, they just go home. Like, they finish their drawing, they're done, they go home. But I'm the one staying after class like, hey man, I struggle drawing this, I struggle doing that, I have questions about this and that. We just sit down, we just chat, and I just learned so much off of him. And then he was gonna give me because I did that, he gave me a recommendation letter to go study abroad. He was gonna try to get me a free scholarship and a trip to go to Europe to learn, from the masters. He thought that would be, I'd be very good at it, and that would be very helpful. Unfortunately, he did that. I took his class 2019, and then we moved into the 2020 semester when he gave me the recommendation. So we all know what happened 2020. So that ended up not happening because, COVID ended up becoming a thing. So I unfortunately did not get to go. But, there is something to gain when you do befriend your professors, because, they're people too, and they've also been, they've had their art journey as well, and they've had, at some point they made a decision to be a teacher. So, I always like to talk to them and learn from them and try to learn from their experiences. Thankfully, I didn't go out on that trip to Europe, because if I was over there and COVID happened, that would have been a very strange experience. I would have been like, oh no, when am I ever gonna go home? Now I want to, let me see this cake thing she's got going on. Okay, no, first of all, this thing is way bigger than I thought it was. Let me make this one bigger. Yeah. It was like literally the beginning of the pandemic. But, you know, like I said before, thankfully, well, I don't want to say thankfully, but it's a good thing I didn't go as fast as he wanted me to, because he wanted me to go like the beginning of 2020 semester. But the way it was looking like, I was going to probably go at the second, like maybe study abroad over the summer, or it was going to be for the fall semester. But yeah, pandemic hit after that. But yeah, he definitely did believe in me, and I guess it's from all the chats that we had. Let's see, I don't know how you managed to make me want to befriend my teacher and hyper focus on digital art in the span of 50 minutes. Good. I'm glad you feel that way, and this has been a very great 50 minutes on the stream. And I hope anybody else watches also feels inspired as well. Because this, it's these little things that are gonna help you get to where you want to go. You don't want to be normal, because if you're normal, that means you don't take all the opportunities. That means you're not working hard. That means if you live in the city, that means you're that person that always goes out into the club every weekend, and nothing really changes about your life, right? But I would say I've learned, before I even went to college, I've learned that making connections is the biggest benefit you get for going to school. So I made sure to utilize that for sure, and I'm very happy I did. Now I am passing that on to you guys. Okay, so this part of her arm, hold on. Okay, so her hand's gonna be a little tricky because she's got gears. I'm gonna make a circle here because she's got like these, she has like a mechanism. I'm gonna stick to the pose. I don't want to, because I have creative liberty. So if I wanted to, I can just not show this arm, and I don't have to deal with this. But I blocked in the pose. This is what belongs here. This is part of the challenge. So let me stick to my pose and not get rid of this arm, and try to understand what I'm drawing here. That's another thing we tend to do when we draw. Like we tend to get very frustrated. And then, and there's nothing wrong with getting rid of the hard parts, but these kind of things, you do it repetitively, and it stunts your growth. I've had an art friend that she had problem with proportions, and I watched her draw from reference. I said, draw completely what's there. And the thing is that you tell somebody to draw completely what's there, and when they don't map out everything on the whole paper, like sometimes, in the reference, maybe this whole fist is there, right? But because of where you started with the head, and then where the body ended up going, and then where the arm ended up going, the fist doesn't fit here. So what she did is that she warped the whole arm so she can draw the fist here. So that way the fist fits into the frame. But that's not relative to the reference she's drawing, and I told her, I watched her do it. I said, you're very stubborn because you did not want to let go of the fact that you couldn't get this whole fist in. So you forced yourself to fit it in here, and you sacrificed the proportions of your pictures, and it came out looking weird. But try to be patient with yourself and forgive yourself when you're drawing. Because, at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Nobody else is looking at the reference you were looking at when you were drawing it. So only you know it didn't come out the way it's supposed to be. But at the same time, I also like to say that is not the goal. When you're using a reference, you're just trying to help yourself get the idea of how the forms are. You're not supposed to draw it completely like the reference is. So it's okay to deviate a bit. some of us are really hard on ourselves. But you know, art is art for a reason. It's your art is supposed to be your version of something, right? You can never. One thing that helped me get over like perfectionism and my stubbornness was learning that it's impossible to completely copy anything. It's impossible. And just understanding that helped me really like, you know what? Yeah. There's no way I'm ever gonna get each line perfect, right? Line for line. So why am I gonna trip over, you know, one or two lines that I didn't get, you know? Got these knuckles. Now, as far as this drawing goes, I just want to make sure the details are pretty accurate because I am drawing somebody else's character and spent a lot of time designing this, and I just want to stay true to their design. But also at the same time, you know, I also think about, well, what does my audience know? Right? Like there are some parts that it's like, okay, I don't know how this looks like, but I don't think whoever's looking at my drawing knows what this looks like either. So yeah, I can get away with it. Or you know, maybe I can just make it up, right? If nobody knows, then I take the liberty that I can decide what this looks like. And thoughts like this reminds you that this whole thing is supposed to be fun. So I think that for me, the only part that I stress out nowadays when I'm drawing is just the logic. Now that I understand the logic more, I stress the logic in my artwork now. So, like earlier when I was trying to get the shoulder to make sense to me in the perspective that is in. By the way, her sword is very. I thought she had like a hilt on her sword, but she doesn't really have a hilt. It's like there's this curve. First of all, I gotta draw it inside the hand. So let me actually draw the lines inside so where the hands would be. Yep, okay. And even though this is here, it's coming out here. Okay. Now, there's not really a hilt. It's just like a long blade, like a sword. Okay, let me turn the canvas a bit. I can swing my shoulder. Really get that angle. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. The reason why I pointed that out is because I have it till 12 to finish this. So I am saying it out loud to increase the urgency here. Okay, so let me think while I do this. I've got most of, I'm erasing just things that I don't have to draw. I'm trying to be very quick. I'm not gonna have to draw the end of these feathers here because the sword is here. Very cool, very cool. Alright. So now I just want to look at her reference to see her cape. She's got this really cool cape. Okay, so I'm gonna draw somewhat a line here to represent the cape. And then I'm just gonna draw some lines. Now, you know what? I want the cape to be flowing, so I want the lines to give it that nice, yeah, like that. To give it this impression that, you know, it's moving in this direction. And then on the other side here, I'm gonna have the hair. So I'm actually gonna draw hair coming out, kind of puffing off of the back of her helmet. I'm gonna add this to really give it that sense of flow. It's all coming together. And now I'm going to erase this as well because that indent was never supposed to be there. That's something I'm supposed to create using the light and the shadows. But I wanted it there so that way I get the proper line. And, everything's aligned. You need to create the guideline so that way the things that you're drawing make sense. So I'm just erasing all the extra stuff. Let me just add some lines here to remind me this is supposed to be fuzzy. Work a bit here on the hair. I'm gonna get a little strand coming out here. Make this feel more like it's hair. trans. Color this in. Not color, no, color it actually. I just want to separate. This is a cape. I just want to separate this and remind myself that this is a cape, because I might come in here thinking, oh yeah, this is hair, right? And it's like, oh no, wait, it's a cape. So let me just, because they're both red, so it's like very easy to mix things up. So I'm just gonna do that, and I have my little butterflies on the back. Alright, so it's looking good. It's 10/16. She's got like words on her sword. They look like gibberish. But you know, I'm gonna try to copy it actually. Okay, because I have the sword reference in front of me. What kind of language is this? Okay. Now I'm gonna take the lasso tool. I'm actually gonna minimize this because I drew it way too big. Yeah, okay, and then there's gonna be more to this. Okay. This turns into that. Like a V. And then there's this weird little shape. Okay. Now I'm just gonna thicken it because all these are etched into the sword. So I'm gonna thicken the lines. To just I really feel like this one I definitely have. I need to squeeze these like this. Squeeze. Ooh. I have to squeeze this individually. Okay. Squeeze. Down. Okay. There you go, looks great. Oh wait, I never did the details for the helmet. I mean the wings on the helmet. Ah, you know, it's not that bad though. It's just this, and then there's 2 lines of feathers. So I'm just gonna feather. Good thing I drew a lot of wings when I was little, so I'm very used to drawing the feather detail. I used to be really into Greek mythology when I was smaller, but I got bullied out of it, so... However, I've been recently back into it, so I will be brushing up on my Greek mythology. Oh, hey Tsunami, welcome back. Yeah, bullied, yeah. You know. Bullied as in like, you know, when you're small and you don't do the cool thing that everybody agrees with, so people make fun of you, right? So I think when I got into this stuff, everybody was just into anime. So if you weren't talking about anime, then you know anything else everything else was kind of like, even among nerds, like you know among my other nerdy friends, it's just like, you know, oh, you're not talking about anime, Greek mythology, that stuff is so old, right? You know, and then we, but it's funny. It's always funny to me because a lot of these stories originate from Greek mythology, right? But people just don't know it. Well, mythology in general, like you know, a lot of creators retell their favorite stories, and you know what we have today are just different versions. Like, you know, people made fun of me for liking Greek mythology, right? But they were into Naruto, right? Well, guess what? Naruto is full of Japanese mythology, like, you know, the whole thing. But we're not Japanese, so we don't know about the mythology. So to us, it's all brand new over here in the West, right? So, so it's just funny. It's like I grow up and I look at that and I'm like, it's really weird. But, you know, that's part of the whole culture aspect of it. You know, that's why anime does better over here in the West, because a lot of the ideas that they use in anime, they're just reusing old stories and they're just putting a new perspective on it. So it works more on the Western audience because we don't know the old stories. To us, this is new. And I believe that the same effect would happen the other way around. If we take our Western stories over here and kind of, you know, put a spin or twist to it and make it our own, it would be popular over there in the East. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I find it silly, you know, that I went through that back then. Because it's like, you know, if you really think about it, right? If you really think about it. But, you know, we're kids. We don't know better. So, but now I'm an adult now, so I can read Greek mythology and have an opinion on it, and nobody can tell me otherwise right now. So, no peer pressure here. But yes, I have been bullied before, Tsunami. You know, we want to hope people can go through their lives without getting bullied, but I think pretty much everybody goes through it at some point. Is 20 points enough for this drawing? Yeah, I think 20 points is good. I think that's thick enough. Yeah, that's thick enough. That's fine. We're gonna run with this. Oh my goodness, that's super thick there. Alright, let's start lining this up. Actually, I should come back here with a thicker pen, TBH. say you never got bullied, but some guy punched you a couple of times. You look at the judge, and now a lot of people I know are bullies. That's great that a lot of people you know are not bullies. Not so great that you got punched a couple of times. But I'm assuming you say that because you stood up for yourself. Oh yeah? Oh, he got suspended for a week? Alright, good. Punishment. That's what he deserves. The heck is he thinking? I don't have to make a complete line here just because when it comes to rounded objects, you can always break it. You can break the line. Because when you're creating something round and you break the line, you give that impression that it's rounded. Which is a nice trick that we use in manga. Because I know I can't do a perfect circle. It's going to take me several tries, but I use this technique to just break the line to give that impression. There's a nice way to get around that without having to scale. So I'm going to do it again over here with this rounded object here. We're going to make it thick on this end, and then the lines get really tiny over here. So I can just connect the line back. There you go. Yeah, see? So it looks like it's a rounded surface just because we broke the line here. The bullies get... Oh, whoops, I read too. If there's any bully kid, the school always watches the kids during break at lunch. They get expelled. Okay, that's great. I think that's a good way to monitor behavior at your school. What program do you use for art? It's Clip Studio. And you can see it up here. If you see where my mouse is, all the way on the top. And you know, my taskbar is also here as well. So, but this is what the Clip Studio logo looks like. Oops. But yeah, Clip Studio, great program to use. You know what? I forgot to add the detail here. There's like 3 leaves. Come on, I'll just have to do it raw. But yeah, Clip Studio is pretty great. It's especially good for making comics, which is what I got it for. Because I have, I have a webcomic that I make. It makes the process of making a webcomic so much easier. And there's a bunch of tools in this program that help you make it. So really recommend it if you're looking into making comics. But if you're also just making illustrations as well, it's really good. It has all the tools you need to make illustrations as well. So I know manga professionals use this program, so that's one of the biggest reasons why I got it. Is it free? No, it's not free. You can download Clip Studio for the first time, and you can use it for like 3 months for free. But you have to pay for a subscription, or you can buy the whole program and never have to pay again. But the drawback with that, if you do choose that option, is that you won't get any of the new updates. But if you ever want, if there's ever like a time that birthday's coming up or Christmas is coming up and you're thinking of a present, the one-time purchase to Clip Studio is something you might want to consider, because you'll always have it. You just won't get the updates, but the way Clip Studio is right now, I think is enough for you can make professional work with the way it is right now. As far as updates goes, if I had to predict, the updates just make your process faster and easier. But my thing is that if you're like a beginner, if you're not that experienced, then these features don't matter to you. They only matter to people who have been doing this for like years and they're very familiar with the program. It just makes their work faster, increases productivity, right? Because most of the time, you're probably, if you're a professional, you're working for some company or something, right? And you have deadlines and you want to make sure you get a finished product faster. So, in my opinion, I think these updates are better for those kind of situations. So if you're just starting out, it would be a great program to invest into. Oh, all right, Neo Libra. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you again. And have a great night. I'm glad you got a lot of value out of today's art stream. Yeah, and I'll see you around next time. Let's see, it's 10:41. Okay. No, I just won't draw this then. Big pen. this strap was a lot smaller. So I'm just gonna go with smaller. Because the way I drew it, it looked like it was big enough to like make a dent, or like a crease in her shirt. But nah, this thing is tiny. Oh, hey, what's up, Mo? Oh, okay, you just coming in and out? Alright. Well, it's good to have a lot of things going on, so that's great for you. I'm happy for you. So, you know, keep up the good work and keep it going. And whenever you do have time, we'll hang out again. As for the baby meow meow, I don't know. I don't have that super cat food to feed the baby meow. Hey-ya. Hey-ya. Okay. Hey-ya. Nice. Okay. We got the edge of sword. Oh, excuse me. Oh, no. Take out the sketch layer, and the line layer is somewhat complete. Okay. Now it's 11:11. I have less than an hour to color this, so I'm actually going to be very quick about this, which means unfortunately I can't do anything, no crazy coloring stuff. It's just going to be very very bad. I didn't even do the sword part, but you know, I'll come back to that. I'll put the sketch there. If I have time, I'll kind of, you know, work with it, but let's create, Control G to my folder, and I'm going to click that to the gray. That's 100. Speaking of gray, that's 100. Has a low left arm. I am very aware there's no left arm there. But that's what makes it funny. Yeah, just okay. You know, I might. Nah. Let me just put in the color before I start going crazy. All this is gold. Thank goodness. Alright. That's right. This is gold. This is gold. Oh, that's not gold. No, let's just keep it. I'll just use the negative. This is gold. The sword is gold. The hand is gold. main color of this whole illustration is the hair. This, it's going to be a darker red. Now I should desaturate this a bit, make it darker. So let's get that red. Yeah, okay. Take a bluer, dark, let's desaturate it a bit. I'm going to put it closer to purple because I'm trying to get a warm color palette here. Now for this part here, it's the same thing, but we're also going to add this because this is kind of from there. Okay. Now this gray part needs to be deleted, and now we've got the fuzz, which is going to be very yellow. It's going to have very orange shading on it, which I'm going to do right now. this is the mid-tone. Actual shadows. We're gonna add the actual shadows in. So let me actually so let's actually unselect that, and we're gonna use the select color gamut tool. Just want to showcase that because it's a very useful way to just select everything as one color and just get straight into it. Oh hey, welcome back, Demon Blue. It's been a while. You did all your homework? How you doing? sorry that I was gone for so long. I'm actually going to represent my school because I was elected because I'm very nice and obedient, so I won't be able to talk as much as I used to. Huh? Okay, so you're representing the school. That's like the most I got out of it, which is pretty cool. No pressure. And you said you're gonna start a new channel, which you'll call Blue Animations. Ooh, that sounds like fun. You're gonna do animations? Yeah, you missed it, Demon Blue. We had more friends on the stream. Oh, so alright, so you are excited about this. Good. I wasn't sure when you said it, I wasn't sure if you were like, oh, I don't want to do this, or, you know. But I'm glad that you are expressing your excitement. But yeah, what an honor. You got your speech ready?
Alright, Demon Blue. Congrats on getting the speech. I hope it goes very well. Don't get nervous. Okay. And thanks for dropping by. It's been a while. I haven't seen you, and glad to hear everything's going well. And I'll see you next time on the next art show. And thank you so much. I'm kind of rushing it right now, but trying to still make it look a little flashy. Alright, I got 10 minutes left, so I'm just gonna leave things where they are. Now, I gotta write that thing on the sword. And maybe some butterflies in the background would be great. Alright. And I rushed the coloring, but that's gonna be it for today's drawing. Oh, hey, Tsunami. Alright, well, you popped in just in time, and you're leaving just in time, because I am about to end stream. But thanks for popping in. I'm glad you like it. And, yeah. So, today that was, what's her name? Malenia? Alright, have a good night. Bye. So tonight that was Malenia from, whatchamacallit, Elden Rings. So for those of you who saw the stream, I hope you liked it. If you felt like you got some value out of today's stream, hit the like button. It lets me know that, you've enjoyed the stream and you got some value out of it. And it's going to encourage me to keep doing it. So, but, that being said, hang on, I'm just going to, okay. But yeah, that being said, I will check you guys out, well, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, which is about to be 2 minutes. I'm kidding. Tomorrow might be a Persona stream. I'm almost finished grinding in Tartarus. For those of you who like watching me play video games, I'll be streaming that hopefully tomorrow. And if you don't catch that stream, I'll always be uploading clips. Because I think that's the fun part. So look out for the clips. Speaking of clips, there will be a 1-minute clip of my drawing process for this. So stay tuned for that if you don't feel like sitting here and watching the 4-hour video, the live stream. But yeah, that's gonna be it for tonight. Wow, I'm tired. And once again, keep working hard. Your efforts will never betray you. That's what keeps me motivated, keep me going. So I want to encourage you to keep trying your best. And remember that all of your efforts will not be in vain, because you will always have what you are working for. And yes, remember to be kind to others as well. So, that's it. Have a good night, everybody.